Does everything look kind of even? Do we look okay?
Yeah, it looks stunning.
All right, thanks guys. Just need a little validation. Hi Mecca beauty junkies, my name is Chanel Temple. I am the global makeup artist for Hourglass Cosmetics. And today I'm gonna walk you through my everyday look using my favorite Hourglass products. So if you wanna see how I created this look and how you can create it at home, keep on watching. The first product I always start with is the Veil Mineral Primer. This just helps even everything out and gives a really beautiful base. I like to start with my complexion first. I always just feel a little more confident when my skin's perfected and looks really even. I'm a little less critical about everything else. So I just take about 1 pump. I like to warm it up in my fingers first and then blend all over. I do recommend using your fingers with this and using your hands because you can really blend the product and really feel it apply onto the skin. And you don't need a lot. Do not overuse this product because then everything's just gonna slip right off. The next step, I'm gonna be using our Vanish Seamless Foundation Stick. I like to use 2 shades just because I feel like we're never just one color. And I'm always really light on my neck. So we're using porcelain kind of around my jawline and in the perimeters of my face. And then vanilla is kind of my perfect match that I'll use more in the center of my face. So I'm just kind of swiping this on my skin. It's extremely pigmented, so definitely start with kind of soft layers. And I say that as I'm like swiping it all over my face, but a little goes a long way. It's double the amount of pigment from traditional foundations. I really focus it in the areas I have the most situations, as I like to call them. And then I go in with my Vanish Seamless Foundation Brush. This brush is like your airbrush. It's gonna make everything look super seamless and even. And I always say it kind of saves you from yourself because you're not over applying. So I've done 1 soft layer and I kind of feel like I need a little bit more. So I'm gonna layer and keep adding. And I'm just putting it in my situations. So my next step is I'm gonna conceal under my eyes, but I'm also using that lighter shade Porcelain from the Vanish collection. I love how multi-use this product is because I can use it to contour, I can use it to brighten, and as my all-over foundation. I'm using the No.8 Concealer Brush. I love this brush because it's kind of like your finger. So I'm just taking a little bit on my lids as well. This is kind of how I like to prime my lids for eyeshadow. Now the next step is I'm going to highlight and contour using our Vanish Flash Highlighting Sticks. The shade I'm gonna be kind of using as my highlight is gonna be the Gold Flash, and I'm gonna be taking the darkest of the collection actually to use as my contour and just kind of chisel my face out just a little bit. So I always make sure to use a cream product first before I go in with powder. And I'm taking the gold right onto my skin. It works so well with the Vanish foundation. I truly find the two work super harmoniously together. And just take a little bit down on the center of the nose, right on my Cupid's bow, and a little even on the top of the lip there. I'll do a bit right in the corner of my eye, just to brighten. Okay. Now I'm gonna go in with the Bronze Flash shade. I'm just gonna put that directly on the skin again. It's a beautiful contour shade because it doesn't look peachy or orangey. I'm pretty fair, so that can happen really quickly. And with this, I'm pretty conscious not to do it right along the jawline because there is a bit of shimmer. I don't want that shimmer too strong on my jaw. And I'm going back in with my Vanish foundation brush. And I don't look overly contoured. The next step is gonna be using the Ambient Lighting Palette to just finish my complexion. I started with cream product first, and now I'll go in to kind of finish and set with the powder. So what I like to do is I like to blend all 3 together and lightly dust all over the face. Just looks like this filter on my skin, like an Instagram filter, but it doesn't go away after I post the photo. Now I'm gonna go in to set the contour with Nude Bronze Light. This is really nice because it's more of a matte bronzer, so I can dust it everywhere and it won't pick up any of that shimmer. Taking the No.8 powder brush, I like using a pretty fluffy brush when it comes to bronzer. I want it to look really even and not too concentrated in any one area. So now for my blush, I'm gonna go in with Brilliant Nude. I wanna use to create a really monochromatic look with my complexion. I want everything to be bronzy and glowy, nothing too pink, nothing too harsh. I want just this really nice even color story. And what I love about these is no two ever looks the same. They're kind of like a little snowflake. Everything's gonna look a little different, but you always get that perfect blend of pigment and the powder. So I'm using the No.2 foundation and blush brush, and I'm just kind of lightly going right in to apples. A good trick is to not go too close to the nose. So I usually take 2 fingers and that's kind of where I want to put my blush. Now it's time to do my favorite part of makeup application, eyes. I always start with my brows just because that's kind of the frame of your face. So I'm going to be using our Arch Brow Sculpting Pencil to just kind of frame everything. So I like to make sure I have a lot of control. So I hold the skin back and I go back and forth. This way, I'm kind of getting in between the hairs and it's not just laying on top of the brow. I like to focus the most really at my arch here. I keep the rest pretty soft and natural. Make sure you always blend as you go. Saves you more work in the end. So now the hard part, making them perfectly even. So again, having that control, going back and forth. So I'm getting the product all the way through my brows. A little bit here, because this is my not as cute brow, so we gotta make them as even as possible. So now to set, I'm gonna go in with the Arch Brow Volumizing Gel. I use the shade Dark Brunette in both, just because I have pretty dark hair and I like a pretty dramatic brow and for it to really pop and stand out. I'm gonna use the short bristles first. I'm gonna go right at the arch and kind of fluff them up. So my brows are gonna look funky and weird at first. Promise I won't leave the house looking like this. But just so you can see, I'm getting all the way through. Training them to go the opposite direction so that I can lay it down and it's just gonna look a lot fuller. Turning it over. Now it's kind of fluffy, now it's a little more feathered and there's just more texture to it. It looks just a little more natural and real, even though I've already used 2 brow products to make it look fuller. Now I'm gonna be going in with my new favorite eyeshadow palette. This is the shade Vista, and it's part of our graphic collection. I'm gonna be using this kind of burnt orange shade first. Because I already did my skin, I don't want fallout, right? So a trick I like is I kind of buff it into my palm. That way I'm pushing the product into the brush and it's not sitting on the top. And then I can just go right into my crease and I'm not gonna get any fallout. And I always kind of use my fingers to blend out and make sure everything's kind of falling the direction you want it to go. A nice trick too is I'll sometimes go back in with my bronzer just to kind of tone everything down. So I'm gonna go back in with my nude bronze just to soften and add a little bit more warmth. And so far I've only used the No.4 blending brush. I think it's really important to start with your crease shade and that kind of lighter shade before you go in with the darker. Bring a little down. The next shade I'm gonna be using is kind of this darker shimmer brown using my all over shadow brush. I'm kind of blending it into the palm of my hand and then applying all over my lid. What I love is that I have a bit of matte and shimmer shades in this palette, so you get a nice dimension and the light really picks up with this shadow. It looks really beautiful. And I always make sure to kind of blend the edges as I go. Now I'm gonna be taking a smudge brush. This is our No.11 smudge brush. And I'm gonna be going in with that same color I just put all over my lid on my lower lash line. Just to kind of smoke it out. And then this way, everything on the top will be mimicked on the bottom. It's a good way to create smokiness without being harsh and using an eyeliner. The next bit, I'm actually gonna be using my fingers for this. I'm gonna take this really nice light gold shade and I'm just gonna kind of press it in the center. It's Kind of pops the eye now and makes it look a little more awake. And then I'm layering, so I'm getting this really nice multi-dimensional look, kind of creating my own shades with it. Now, just to create a little more depth, I'm gonna be going in with this matte black shade. And this one, I'm really conscious that I make sure really blending it into my brush. And there's a little remnants from the other shades, which I kind of like, because then it really blends it softly and it's not too harsh. The next step is gonna be using our 1.5 gel eyeliner just to line a little bit of the outer corner of my eye, and then I'm gonna use it to tightline as well. So I'm gonna be focusing right on the outer corner. Taking now a angled liner brush, so I just kind of wanna blend it through my lash line. I have no idea what that looks like, sorry. Ah! Cool. Not too bad. Now I'm gonna be taking that same pencil and just lining the top waterline. Key here is to have as much control as possible. So I'm gonna be taking my pinky, bear with me, it might look a little scary, but I'm gonna go right along my lash and kind of lift up. And I'm going right in between. Essentially you're tickling your eye, but it just makes such a difference. The last step for my eyes is gonna be the CURATOR lash instrument. I know it looks intimidating and it can look kind of scary at first, but it makes such a difference, and it's essentially like a lash lift in a tool. First step is I'm gonna be using the Ascent primer. Just go right to the base and wiggle up. What this is gonna do is it works like a primer for your face. It's priming my lashes for the formula. It's giving them that little bit of lift and that little bit of curl. So now I'm going in with the Realist mascara. It's a jet black formula. It makes my lashes look really bold and lifted, nice and dark. And the final step to complete my look is gonna be lips. I'll be using my favorite lip combo, Femme Nude in the shade number 6, and then I'll top it with Child Extreme Sheen Lip Gloss. What I love about this lip is the shape of it. It's kind of like a crayon, and I can line my lips, overline it just a little to make them look fuller, and it's such a good mauve-y nude. And then the last step, Extreme Sheen Lip Gloss in the shade Child. These are so lightweight in texture, they don't feel sticky or heavy. They glide right onto the lip. What I like about this color is it is on the nude side, but it's so sheer that it doesn't take away from anything I've already done. And there you have it, my everyday look using my favorite Hourglass products. Thank you so much, you guys. I'll see you next time.